Hello bearded bee people, welcome back to Bees. So the most common question I've had over the last 2 weeks is, when do I pull all my honey boxes off of my hives? And the short answer to that is, the earlier you pull, the less you have to feed. And what I'm talking about is pulling all of the honey boxes off. So this is 2 brood chambers and 1 honey box, and well, actually 2 because that one's over there. So what I mean by that in this case would be to remove all but these 2 bottom boxes, for the intention of having them go through winter in their 2 bottom boxes. That's a pretty good standard to keep by, not necessarily the 2 boxes, but having them go into winter with the total amount of brood area that they had for the whole year. So if they were in a single, having them go into winter in a single. If they were in 2 deeps, having them go into winter in 2 deeps, having them go in, in 3 mediums, whatever it was that your brood area was, is likely a good size or overall volume for overwintering. The problem is, all year we've been trying to convince them to keep their honey up above it, so that we can have surplus honey to extract. So the idea is for me to pull all of my honey boxes off before the goldenrod, before the fall flow, and let all of that stuff start to backfill the brood area. And then after the fall flow is done, feed the remaining amount. So if I want the single to be 100 pounds and they put up 60 pounds of goldenrod honey, I'd put a bucket of syrup on them and they would reach that 100 pounds and then they're good. So my target date for my out yards pulling honey boxes is August 15th. It works real well because I pull off my honey boxes, I put my treatments in, and then I'm pretty much done with them for the year, other than feeding in September. I won't go through those boxes anymore, and I won't be doing any frame manipulation and adding any boxes or anything like that. The rest of the year will be for them to make their brood area really, really super heavy and super well populated. And then, obviously take care of the treatments as well to make sure that we can be confident that the mite load is in check. So, like I said, my target date for that is August 15th. That's a little bit before the goldenrod, but that's my target date for treatments, and so it just kind of coincides because it would have been, goldenrod starts in a week or, maybe 10 days after that anyway, so. Depending on where you're at in the country or where you're at geographically, try to kind of figure out where your fall flow is, and then I recommend pulling all your honey boxes off before that fall flow so that those brood areas can put on a lot of weight for winter. So that is my recommendation to you. If you do want to pull some of that stinky goldenrod honey, and a lot of people like it, my mother-in-law is one of them, and some hives we do leave honey supers on up into September. That just means that you're going to be doing more feeding. That's all right if you only have a few hives, or if you're totally willing to lug buckets around to your hives. But just be prepared that if you're going to leave those boxes on there and continue to convince them to keep the honey up above, they don't know you're going to take it. So they're not necessarily going to backfill the brood area the way they would if you did take it off. So when you do take it off in early September, you've got to do an assessment, try to figure out how much weight they do have, and feed to the point where you feel good about them going through winter. So that is my idea. It's worked pretty well for us over the last bunch of years, and so I hope it works well for you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I would be happy to chat with you about them. And get out there and have some fun with your bees. See ya.